Let's take a look at this comment from BassemYoussef.
You mentioned Piers. The second interview, I really loved talking to Piers. We talked as friends. Piers is not my enemy. He's a wonderful person, and
Okay.
off camera, he has a very charming personality. And whatever you see on maybe it could be part of his personality, but it's also the persona. He is there to ask hard questions, to ask maybe questions that would kind of push your buttons, but that's his job, to go and adopt the opposite side. So you will have you will challenge whatever point of view that we have. But when I sat with him not with wanting to have a debate or to win a debate, but to have a conversation. And I think it worked. I think people have had a chance to listen more, to understand more, to search more. And I hope that we have more of this, of kind of like deep, nuanced, complex conversation, so that we can listen to each other instead of talking over each other.
I wanted you on my.
Okay, so basically, BassemYoussef in this interview, who basically mentioned a few things. Number one, we can have a conversation. Now, and the reason for that, to have a conversation, is because everybody needs to be heard. I agree with that. No problem with that. But here's the problem. We have not heard the voice of the Palestinians for the past 5 decades. I think that instead of saying we need to have a conversation, BassemYoussef could have said we need to hear the Palestinian stories more often. I agree with him when he said that Piers Morgan and all of us are here to have a discussion and find maybe a way out, or find a solution and have an impact in public's opinion. I agree with that. But at the same time, on the flip side, he said that Piers Morgan was going to ask him tough questions, and that's his job, to push your buttons. Well, I think that in this regard, I don't agree with him, because Piers Morgan, he does not push your buttons. He actually forces his opinion. He imposes his opinion on you, which is completely based on Israeli and IDF and how they are being the victim in this whole thing, instead of telling us that the IDF, Israel, what they're doing is horrendous. So he doesn't really push your button. He just tries to peddle his own narrative in such a way that sometimes the guests, they really are shut up. They have really no say because of his imposition of those opinions of him. Now, of course, there are a lot of good things he also mentioned, BassemYoussef, about Piers Morgan, that he's not my enemy, he's my friend. Now, you have to understand this. BassemYoussef, where he's coming from, he's an Egyptian. And right now we know Egypt's position in the war. They are not helping people of Gaza. In fact, the Egyptian foreign minister, I believe, he said that if one single person comes to our Sinai region, we will declare war over that. Means we will not do anything until we have to act. Means the life of the Palestinians don't really matter. So Egypt took a very neutral stand on this, and they are doing it for a very long time throughout history, that they favor Israel. They always bring them close to them. And BassemYoussef is from Egypt. So he is thinking, when he's debating with Piers Morgan, of course he is thinking about Egypt, his country, going back there, how he will be received. So he would not go too much on the offensive against Piers Morgan, because that way he might come across to the Egyptian authority as somebody who is creating trouble. And therefore he is well aware of what he should be doing. And this, it can be dangerous, because if you remember what some of the Egyptian sportsmen, I'm not going to mention their name, what they're doing is that they're calling for peace. They're calling to stop killing of innocent people. They don't really call out directly a specific group, IDF, who are committing this genocide. They don't call out, because they have to save their face. They have to save their lives. If they go back and the Egyptian authority, they think this people is talking, his rhetoric is against our government, then this person could be in trouble. Another point I want to make mention of, when BassemYoussef said we need to have a dialogue, conversation from everybody, we need to hear everyone's voice, and we can find a way out basically from that. Andrew Tate, he made a comment similar to that. He said in the beginning of this war, last month, he said that we need to have a conversation, we need to have a dialogue, and he said peace. Ben Shapiro, he came out and he blasted Andrew Tate, and he said, oh, you're crazy, you want peace, you just attacked us, you terrorists, you bad people, Hamas, bad, you guys are now, after killing us, you want peace. So it actually backfired on Andrew Tate, and every time we see any Muslim calling for peace and whatnot, we see this people like Ben Shapiro or Rabbi Shmuley, I think his name, people like him and many other speakers who are pro-Zionist. They come out and they blast those Muslims saying, we will never have peace. So BassemYoussef, good luck with that. If you want to talk about everything and everybody's voice needs to be heard and you want to have a roundtable discussion, good luck with that. Because these people, the Zionists, they don't believe in peace. They don't believe in dialogues. They don't believe in conversation because they have the power. They have money from U.S., Western governments. They're draining their money to Israel. They can kill pretty much every single Gazan people. And this is exactly what they're doing. So they are not in any way, shape, or form in the mood to have a conversation like BassemYoussef is asking here. Of course, he's talking to the Western audience, his Western audience. He's not talking about people of Gaza. He's not talking on behalf of the Palestinian at that moment. He did talk about them, but that was a different occasion. But in this interview, when he was giving to Sky News, I believe, he was obviously addressing his Western audience because he's in Australia, Western country, essentially. And then we also have countries like US, Canada. So he is addressing those people. So the problem with this kind of leniency that we have seen from BassemYoussef is that this could come across to many people as, not the person we have seen on Piers Morgan's show. So when he went to Piers Morgan's show, he blasted it. He just lashed out at Piers Morgan. He's just eviscerated him completely. There is no rebuttal from Piers Morgan. He was just helpless. And this is why the video got how many million views? 25 million views. We want to see that BassemYoussef. We do not want to see a BassemYoussef who is now talking about peace and hearing voices from Jew community, from Christian community. We want BassemYoussef who would be raising his voice to the loudest possible to deny, to reject, to condemn this genocide of Israel instead of talking about conversation and dialogue. Because, well, we are ready as Muslims. We can talk. We have no problem. But the Zionists, they're not ready, and they will never be ready to talk. So we will come across as people who are weak, and I don't want that. So my assessment of BassemYoussef is mixed. My understanding. I want to hear from you guys, your opinion. Let me know in the comment section.